out of Africa. Some say the future of our cities lies in open data. This is information that is available on the internet and can be freely available to be shared and reused. Joining us in the studio is David Barnard. He is the Vice President for Africa at Techsoup Global. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network, David.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now, let's start by unpacking what open data actually is.
Very simply, it is accessible public data, data that is collected by, call it public institutions, by government, using taxpayers' money and public funding. And government, as well as the private sector, etc., but government specifically, sits on vast volumes of data, often underutilized, not properly analyzed, and therefore, in an era that we're all trying to find solutions for the many complex problems that we face with, people that actually can help in finding those solutions don't have access to that data. And that's why you have this global movement now towards encouraging governments to open up their vast data sets that collectively we can start looking at finding problems to our many common problems.
You're saying governments don't make this public. So where does this data actually sit?
It sits, if you think about government in its totality, local government, provincial government, national government, each of them and all the spheres of government collect information. You have formal interventions, be it it's the census data, or you can just think about across government, across the various arms of government. On a daily basis, vast volumes of information are generated, be it in terms of reporting in government, be it in terms of, say, specific service delivery items, how many houses are we building or not, how many medicines are we distributing or not. They're collecting that information, but the sum total of that is that we don't necessarily see a significant increase in finding solutions or coming up with better solutions. So the whole thing with open data is very simple. On the one side, it allows people collectively, individually, to take data about problems and issues and come up with better solutions. On the flip side is if that information is available and no one is doing something with it, or we're making the wrong decisions as government, or we placing resources where it's not supposed to be going to, that is where the accountability dimension kicks in. And so an ordinary citizen can also look at that data, look at, say, what is said about data and say, but it doesn't relate to my well-being or how my quality of life is being improved by the government.
You've just had a conference on open data. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, we had a conference called Buntwani, which is the second year that we've hosted it. The first event was in Kenya, now it's South Africa, and we'll take it to other parts of Africa, where the whole conversation is to look at technology and innovation and how that is improving governance or getting to a state of better and open government, in which, once again, the issue of open data is a specific component of that equation, in the same way that we talk about open government. With more information at our disposal, it's better to keep people accountable, to increase transparency, etc. So what we did over in this week, over 2 days, is to bring together 80 experts from around the world.
That's a huge number.
From every continent, to reflect on their experiences. Where are the bottlenecks? Is it simply a question that there's not enough data, or the data is available, the technology is available, but there's a disconnect in terms of finding solutions to the problems that we are confronted with? Are we working in silos? Are we not sharing experiences with one another? Is many of these initiatives donor-driven, or is it really developed with a very specific or a set of objectives in mind to come up with better solutions, etc. So there are many challenges also in this discussion. So if you think about open data as, say, a term or terminology in kind of public use on a day-to-day basis, it's still in its infancy, maybe in academia, maybe in the tech community, in a small component in the government circles, maybe we are referencing open data. So the full meaning, the full understanding of open data, the meaning and the potential contribution of open data. So there's a lot of work to be done in breaking down the understanding or creating better understanding, breaking down the silos, and collectively start looking at, say, how we can learn from one another.
And now, David, you spoke about your experts. You said it's over 80.
Yeah.
Are these experts from all over the world?
Yeah, from all over the world, from a cross spectrum of government representatives, people from the research community, from the funding community, activists, people from civil society, people working in public policy. So it's a diverse set of experiences, but there's a common theme across those areas of interest.
Let's talk about those commonalities in terms of what was coming out. Did you find that your experts, let's say from Europe, for example, were giving you the same information as your experts from, let's say, East Africa, for example?
Yes and no. I think there are similar bottlenecks in terms of, say, government responsiveness to these issues, understanding the full potential. Do we have enough champions on the inside of government in all its spheres to be driving and pushing for a better approach or an informed approach to open data? Outside of government, there's no shortage of thought leaders about why governments should be more open, why they should be using open data and be promoters of open data. So on that level, I think the experience is fairly universal. Obviously, in environments, if you take the technology angle, there are certain environments where maybe access to technology and access to information is just as a starting point better developed than maybe, say, in some places in Africa. So in that sense, the experience is slightly different, but at the same time, there's lessons to learn from that. Do we have to take the same time to get to a point, or can we fast-track it if we are more proactive right now?
All right, David Barnard from Techsoup Global. Thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight and joining us for this discussion.
Thank you very much.